All right, so we're pretty much going to go through how to analyze comps on a deal. So pretty much every single house that comes your way, this is going to be the same exact process no matter what. So comps mean comparables. So it's pretty much what we're doing is this is a lead that came my way, which is pretty much a house for sale. We have a few details on this house for sale. I'm just going to put it into the spreadsheet. So every house for sale that comes your way, you're going to put it into the spreadsheet. One thing you're going to want to keep in mind too is that so another thing, going backwards, we're going to use Google Drive for our notes. And inside Google Drive, you're going to right click, you're going to hit Google Docs, and Google Docs is going to create a notepad. So when you have a notepad, this is for June. This is called June Leads. I call it rough because this is kind of like scratch paper. Instead of taking a pen and paper and writing this information down, we pretty much want to use this Google Docs Word document as scratch paper to take notes. All right. So when we take notes on every lead that comes our way, we're going to start the lead off on this piece of scratch paper pretty much. And one thing you want to keep in mind when you use it is that when you copy and paste stuff like this and you paste it into here, it's going to come up with that same font that was there. So it's bold, it's going to come up bold. And if it's whatever they have, it's going to come up like that. But we don't want it that way in our notes. So you're going to go to Google, you're going to paste it in here, you're going to highlight it all, you're going to copy it all, and you're going to repaste it in here, and that pretty much gets rid of all the fonts that it comes with. So every time you put the information in here, you pretty much want to do that because otherwise it's going to look all crazy like you just saw. With these notes, we want to keep it very simple, and all we want is just straight to the point details. Usually when I create these, I have the address, usually the first thing, and then after that, parentheses, I like to have the person's name. So I got this lead from Indira Noor, and I have their email address right here. So if we need to get in contact with the person right away, we have their contact information right next to the lead. So we don't have to go do extra work trying to figure out where this came from. It's good to just have all the information we need right there. If this person has a phone number, I would have put the phone number in there too. But since they only have email for right now, that's fine. All right. So this is pretty much going to be the first step of analyzing a lead. Is pretty much just putting the house info or whatever information we have in here. All right. And I'm going to skip down a few steps. So the purpose of looking for comps is we have a house for sale, and the asking price is $633,000, and we want to see what the we pretty much want to see what the house is going to be worth. Okay, so right now the asking price is $633, and whoever sent it to me says it's going to be worth $915, which is the ARV. The rehab, a lot of times people are going to send you the rehab numbers, and like 99% of the time, these numbers are going to be completely inaccurate. I can already tell you right off the bat, right now, $35,000 is completely inaccurate. So let's get into the comps, and we'll talk more in person on, the big picture on what comps are if you don't know what it is. All right, so this is pretty much how you run comps. That's what we're going to do. I'm just going to highlight the address. The first thing I do is I go to Google. It's going to take you straight to the beginning. I'm going to put in the address. There's two things I like to do. So I like to right click, open this up in another tab, because you're always going to have to come back to this tab, this Google tab with the address, only because it's easier to just copy and paste the address from here. And then I like to have the other tab so we can use the maps. So we're going to go to the Google Maps. Pretty much we want to look at the area. So we start off with this map right here, which is the general map. And the reason why is we want to see what's going on in the area. For example, it looks like it's on a busy highway. As you can see, the house is this red dot. So when we zoom in on it, we can tell that this house is at the corner of an intersection. So the odds are this is just a busy street. That's what it tells me right here. But if you go to like another location, you go to like a house, let's just say for example right here, there's not a whole lot of traffic. You can tell by how thick the lines are. It's not like the best example, but here's a good example, like kind of a cul-de-sac right here. See how thin the streets are? The streets are thin, and it's only surrounded by a bunch of houses. There are streets, but it's not like this right here. This right here is like a expressway or a busy street. Whatever it is, it's a busy street. So that's the first thing I notice when we come here. When we look at comps, we notice that the house is at the corner of a busy intersection. So a lot of traffic goes between here, and then looks like there's a little thing right here where there's a lot of traffic. All right. Another thing I realized it's next to a middle school. So usually middle schools, this is a perfect example right here. Usually schools start around like 7, 8, maybe 7, like 8 a.m. in the morning. So sometime around 7 or 8 a.m., there's going to be a bunch of traffic. There's going to be a ton of traffic in this little area. The reason why is because parents are going to be taking their kids to school. And then you see this right here, this little thing that indents. That's where parents drop off their kids. So in the morning, every morning, there's going to be a huge line of traffic of parents working their way through here to drop off their kids. So not only is it a busy street, but every single morning, Monday through Friday, there's going to be a ton of traffic. When these people wake up and try to go to work, there's going to be a ton of traffic just trying to get out of here just to get to work. So that lowers the value of the property. Another thing too is schools can be very noisy. If they have events or during the day, lunchtime, you're gonna hear a lot of kids out here playing. That even goes for the homes right here. The homes that are touching the school right here, that even goes for those homes too. Even all these homes, they're all gonna be pestered by the noise. And not so much by the traffic, because the traffic is mainly gonna be right here, but not a whole lot of traffic is going to be over here because you can see the streets are a lot thinner. Another thing, it's right next to this big park area. I don't know what's going on over here, but I don't know if it creates a lot of noise too or not. But it's pretty much the biggest thing is that it's on this busy street. Not only is it on a busy street, but it's right next to a school. All right, so those are some of the things you want to notice. Another thing too, when it comes to noisy areas, is if you have a house that's like right next to a freeway, you see this little house right here in this corner, that is another noisy area for a house to be, because all day long they're going to hear this freeway, a bunch of traffic, just loud noise all day long. So that brings down the value of the house. So the house is going to be worth less than other homes that are in more quiet neighborhoods, like I was trying to show you guys somewhere over here, like a little cul-de-sac, like right here. Like look at this house. It's not next to a school. It's not next to a busy highway. It's not next to a freeway. The odds are it's in a quiet area. Although this street looks a little thick, it might be a little busy, but you get the picture. Okay. So that being said, that already tells me a lot about the house. that already tells me that when we look up comps and we find the same bedroom, same bath, same square footage, same kind of house, it's going to tell me that this house automatically is going to be worth less than the house that we find. Next thing I like to do while I'm on Google Maps is I like to use a satellite right here down at the bottom. And when you click satellite, it gives you a better idea of kind of what's going on in the neighborhood. Okay, so now you can see how big and thick this street is compared to the other streets. See, this is like a quiet little neighborhood, quiet street. But then right here, this is like a highway. It's meant for a lot of people to pass through and make a lot of noise. Then we go back over here and you can see that it's obviously a little drop-off area for the kids. And then over here, this is probably where it's most noisy for a lot of these people over there. And with this, now we can see what's going on over here. At first, we didn't know if it's going to be a busy place or not, but it looks like it's a pretty quiet park, depending on what goes on in this area. That's a whole lot of cement meant for cars to go and drive and park and stuff. So who knows? Who knows what goes on over there? It could be another noise nuisance. So in this case, if we were to buy the house, I'll drive over here. I'll drive through here. I'll drive through there. I'll drive inside of here. And I'll try to figure out what's going on in here, see what it's like in there, just better understand what's going on with this place. I don't know exactly what this is, but it's far enough to where it shouldn't really affect the value of the house. Okay? So that's one thing you always want to do before you look at any other comparables. You kind of want to get an idea of what's going on in the neighborhood. And here's another thing too that I just noticed, that here's another school right here. And then again, what do schools do? They create traffic and they create a lot of noise. So this is a elementary school. The other one's a middle school. So now when these people wake up in the morning, they try to go to work, there's probably going to be a bunch of traffic on Hellwire Avenue and Salvador Avenue. So there's going to be a ton of traffic for these people trying to get out of here and get to work because they're right between two schools. Okay, so that's the first thing we want to look at. So now, next thing we want to do is we want to go into some of the details of the house. Right here, I like to use Zillow. Put in the address, hit enter. Oh yeah, another thing that reminds me too is we want to see what the house looks like. So let's go back, use satellite. Another good thing about satellite is it kind of gives us a bird eye view of what the house has going on. So as you can see, it's not a very big backyard. This might be the backyard, it might be a side yard, who knows? But it's not very big. Looks like this is a pretty big house. Takes up a lot of space. So when I go there in person, first thing I'm going to want to look for is see what's right here. I'm assuming it's probably like a private wall, but we'll check that out soon in a little bit. You notice how this house has a backyard? Looks like this is parking, so people park there, but it still has a little backyard. If you look at some of the other homes, let's see what they have. So it's pretty congruent. So it looks like in this neighborhood, there's not a whole lot of backyards for these homes. Looks like they all have the same thing. You pull into a driveway, you park right there, and then they all have a little backyard. So that's another thing I noticed. This kind of has it. It doesn't really have a little area to pull into, but it has a backyard. Maybe it has a garage. Okay. Other things that you can find too when you're looking at subject properties. So the house that we're looking at right now is called a subject property. Subject property. Another thing you'll notice too, some homes, when you're looking at them, you may notice stuff like this on top of the roof. It looks like there's some so some homes may have roof issues, and you may notice stuff like this. So that